Hi everyone, this animated video on orthographic drawing goes through the very basic steps to start off an orthographic drawing. Here you'll have to set up your drawing board and your T-square and draw in a 10mm margin all around to start before we start the exercise. And as stated here, then we're going to start with creating a starting point for our drawing, and what we'll be doing is we're coming in here 30mm in from the left hand margin and 30mm down from the top margin, and we're going to create a junction here. So that'll be illustrated here now as follows. So keep all the lines light until the object is drawn, and the object lines will be drawn in heavier afterwards at the end of the exercise. So you get your ruler, just mark a basic point as illustrated here, just come in 30mm from the left hand margin, and after you've done that, you'll just shoot a vertical line using your set square off your T-square as shown here, and that is a 30mm line now in from the left hand margin, and you'll continue that line down through the page as shown here. Now from the top margin line, measure down 30mm again with your ruler and just mark a little point as shown here, and you'll be shooting a horizontal line now through that 30mm point with your T-square as shown here. And again, it's a faint line. These are all faint lines. And as you can see, we now have our starting junction here for whatever type of object we might be drawing. So in our case here, we're just going to be drawing just a block, just a basic block that has 3 surfaces. It's just to get the basics in place before you start drawing any more complicated orthographic drawings. This animation is gone through the very basic steps for a very basic shape to start with. So now we'll start drawing our object, and as stated here, it'll be a piece of timber measuring 200mm long, 70mm thick, and 100mm wide. So there's your 3 dimensions there. Basic block, and I've covered I've colored the 3 surfaces so you can relate it later on to the orthographic version of this drawing. This is called an oblique view, by the way. So illustrated here is the views from different perspectives. So now we're going to measure in from the starting point we created earlier, and in this case we're measuring along here the length of the object, which is 200mm. So you're going to mark now 200mm here, and that represents this line here from here to here, but you're doing it now in an orthographic version of the drawing, which will show 3 separate views, as opposed to this drawing here, which is oblique, which shows all the 3 views in one illustration. This will be 3 separate illustrations within the orthographic drawing. Then keep a gap between the views. We keep the same gap between the views regardless what direction we're going. Later on we'll have a gap down here that will keep the same gap. So if this is 30mm here, then it should also be 30mm down here, of a gap between the views as shown here now. And now we're drawing in the width of the object, which is 100mm as shown here. So now we're going to measure down the object thickness, which is 70mm as shown here. And here's our gap between the next view, which is going to be the plan view, or the view from above, or the view of this surface, in other words here. And the width of that is 100mm from here to here, which is being drawn now here as we speak. So that's that top surface there, enclosed in this rectangle, 200mm by 100mm. I've coloured them in so as you can correlate them with the oblique view here. So here's all your titles, by the way. These titles should be 5mm high, typically be about 5mm high, depending on the size paper you're drawing on, but your typical A3 or etc. paper would be about 5mm high. So when you're finished, you darken in the lines of the actual object, but leave the faint lines. So as stated, all the object lines are now darkened in as shown here and here and here from the 3 different views. Don't forget to put in your hatching, but keep it faint as shown here, and show some radiating faint lines as well. So this hatching pattern makes it plain to anyone looking at the drawing that this is the ingrain of a piece of wood. So you have various hatchings for various types of materials. So in this case we now know it's wood. just by looking at the hatching. And as these are called projection lines, if they're very faint, you can leave them there. Do not try to rub them out. Don't worry about it. Once they're very faint, they'll actually fade into insignificance when these lines have been darkened. By the way, by drawing a line from here to, it will bring you to this point if you come at 45 degrees, and same if you come from here at 45 degrees, you will come to this point. So you would end up with the same space here at this point. Just an interesting point. Or sometimes you can put the point of a compass here, stretch the pencil of the compass here and rotate around, and it will bring you to this point. So as you progress into orthographic drawing, that's just another approach you can have rather than measuring the same spaces. So you have less measuring with that approach. So as you advance into orthographic drawing, just bear that in mind. So that's basically the point there. Usually the pencils that has HP in them are a bit on the soft side. So use a pencil. You might see a pencil labelled H, for instance. It'd be one label. You'll see that's usually a hard lead. So you'll get a thinner, darker line with a hard lead pencil. But if you have a softer lead on the pencil, it'll be heavy, alright, but it'll get very thick and smudgy looking. So you're better off with a harder lead pencil. Softer lead pencils are grand for printing in the titles. It's easier to print with a softer lead. That's just a little tip I'll give you there. So after that, you put in a title box on the drawing.